Hey, Strummer Dundee here, and today I just wanted to show you a real quick video about how I use bullet journal methods to help me organize my video game plans, specifically for RPGs or role-playing games. So this is actually kind of an example one, not my real one, I guess you could say, because I have my real video game bullet journal in my normal bullet journal. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, bullet journal method is simply a way to kind of make your own planner, and it's very simple, has very minimal steps. I will link the actual normal bullet journal method below so you can see and explain a couple key concepts as we go along. So let's flip to the first page here. I don't have anything on the cover. Of course, you can decorate this however you like. This is just a very simple journal, like that's stapled along the spine, and that's about it. It's very thin. This is one that I got in like a pack of 3 at CVS. It's very simple. You can of course put whatever you like on the front or on the inner cover, and I just wrote video game bullet journal for my first page. So as you flip, what's supposed to be in the first 2 pages, or spread, a full spread as it's usually called, I do have an index. And for the index, this is a very standard bullet journal index where it just says like index up at the top and you have the numbers going down. So these are page numbers. Since this is kind of a small notebook and I took up some lines writing index, I only got down to 24 pages. Now the beauty of this is you can actually add things to the index as you go along. So once you make a page, you just make it. Oh, it's on page number 1. So after you made it, oh, I called that skills tracker, and you can put it right over here for number 1. So if my skills tracker, like if this was a video game with more than just these 5 skills, it might go on for several pages. They can all still be considered page 1, or you could go up here and say, oh, page 1 through 3 skills tracker, and the next page would be page 4 in that case. You can also, since a lot of video games, especially RPGs, have very set class systems, very set skills, set characters, things like that, you could technically try to plan out everything in advance. So for example, Stardew Valley, I already have a skills tracker. I'll talk about like the community center bundles. If you wanted to do like seasonal pages and character relationship pages and other things you're collecting or valuable gems or museum artifacts, you very well could just go to like the Stardew Valley wiki page and really fill up a lot of spread ideas before you actually start drawing them into your bullet journal. So far you can see I have 2 things here. If I ran out of pages, or no space for the pages at 24, I could always start a second column going down here. So first I need a skills tracker for Stardew Valley. In case you didn't know, in Stardew Valley there's not really a whole lot of skills. These are the main ones you're looking at, and they do have levels 1 through 10. So what I did is I just did a 1 on one side, 10 on the other, and a 5 representing the middle in this case. I haven't actually drawn in where I am for my particular character, but if you wanted to, you can shade this in with a color pencil up into the level that you are at and add on as you go along. You could put little tiny stickers to count through, little check marks for each level, whatever you want to show. Now, one thing I also added on this is particularly in the skill I'm not good at, fishing. I'm terrible at fishing. I also added 2 additional notes. In Stardew Valley, when you get to the mid-level, level 5, and the top level, level 10, they give you 2 options of what to choose. So usually there are things like whether you want to focus in a particular area. So for fishing, they basically give you one at level 5 where you can focus on getting more money or more value from fish, or you can focus more on like catching things in the crab pot. So once I get to level 5, because I'm not there yet, because I suck at fishing, I decided I'm going to choose the fisher option. Same thing for level 10. There's 2 options, and I've decided when I get there I'm going to do the lure master option, so I don't have to bait my traps anymore. They're just always kind of baited for me. So that's something else you can kind of plan out in the future. Again, if you're the type who likes to plan out things and look things up, if you're one to not want to look ahead and not want to know what the options are, this wouldn't be something for you. So let's take a look at another page that I kind of drew up for this. This is for the community center, I keep saying cinder, community center bundles. So when you unlock the community center, it's like really shabby in Stardew Valley, but you can, like no spoilers I guess, but you can do things and activities and donate things to help make it better and get rewards for yourself. So I've actually completed most of the community center. That's why I have these little squares kind of filled in. In classic bullet journal fashion, an empty square, so like if this little line wasn't here, or like this square, here we go. So an empty square with nothing in it means it's not done. A square that has a line through it means you have started on it, and a filled in square means it is done. So you can see I finished the crafts room, pantry, boiler room, bulletin board, and vault. I have started on but not finished the fish tank because I suck at fishing. So these are all the different bundles in there that I have started on or have gotten at least one fish in. Have not gotten any night fish so far, so that's why that one is blank. You could easily have fleshed all of these out. I just did one example since the fish tank is the only thing I still have left. That's driving me crazy. So another thing you can do is make a quest log. There are little personal quests, there are storyline quests, and you can keep track of what you're supposed to do. So for example, I finished Key's Challenge, which is reach level 25 in Skull Cavern, that is in the desert. And then I started doing the different parts of the mysterious Mr. Key challenge or quest, and I've continued going on through there. If you wanted to add personal things on here, like getting items for specific characters, that would also be very helpful, and you can just keep going down this quest log. And if you didn't add another page immediately after, your quest log could just continue on to the next page. So that's also another idea, just to keep track. I always have this bad habit of getting in the middle of a quest, forgetting what I'm doing. And yeah, I know there's the journal in the game, but I always forget to click on it. It's a very tiny icon. And this just helps me keep track. I can just crack this open and I have everything here all at one glance. So for the next page, this one is pretty important for Stardew Valley, and that's relationship charting. So if you're very early on in the game, there is so much you can do with this, especially if you haven't decided like who you're gonna get to know the most and who you might like express wanting a relationship with. So the first character I put on here, because I am at a peak maturity point in the game, is Abigail, who is my wife in the game. I put down some of her likes. You can put down dislikes. This is really useful in just knowing what you can and cannot give characters. I've messed up so many times because I would give characters like honey, like, oh, who doesn't like honey from my fresh beehive that I have at my farm? And they'll be like, ugh, what am I supposed to do with this? Ugh, it's annoying. So this would be really useful to track different townspeople, what they like or dislike. Also, for some people, where they are. I have seriously lost track of a couple characters in the game because they just have really unpredictable patterns, and I don't understand where they are at. So this is something you could go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or however you want to number, if you don't want to number at all. And this is a good way of keeping track of different relationships with different characters. You can also if you want to, draw in their little hearts or use heart stickers to show where you are at in friendship points or relationship points with them. So that leads me to the daily dashboard. So I have this blank because I actually have a different tool I use with this, or could use. I wanted to show you how you can kind of set this up. So for one example, daily dashboard, there's some things in my game I have to do every day regardless, or I want to do every day regardless. So one of those things is kind of check the travel cart. I always check there because I suck at fishing, remember this, and I always want to see if she has a fish that I can buy instead of trying to catch to complete any of my fishing bundles. So that is something I always try to do. Something else I also do is check my greenhouse trees. I also have a coffee bean plant in there right now. But my greenhouse trees, they're inside, so they grow all year long, and sometimes I forget about them. So that is something that I always have to do, go in and check, because once they have 3 fruits on there, it's not going to grow anymore. So that's something I have to consciously make sure I go in and check every day. Now, I've left the rest of this blank. There's only really a few everyday definitely things I have to do, and the rest tend to be kind of seasonal. So I have a solution for that. So here is my solution. I have this little packet of tabbed sticky notes that I use. So there are lots of different colors, and you can flip to each one, use a different color, and it just comes in a little plastic kind of folder. So actually they're called Eagle Divider Notes. Good to know. So I just peeled one off and stuck it here just enough for the tab to go off. This is a really good way to keep track of seasonal things. So for example, if I am at the very start of fall, I know a couple things I need to do include check pumpkins. I was trying to grow giant pumpkins last time around, so I really had to make sure that there were no spots that crows were getting at, that everything was kind of fertilized evenly, that everything was getting watered properly, and other kind of possible indicators of something not going okay with my giant pumpkins. So this could be the color if you wanted to choose for the sort of fall daily things to check. And the beauty of having these in different colors is you could color code them. Like, oh, this is going to be my spring color, and this is going to be my winter color, and this is going to be my summer color. And you can always just have them maybe in the back and then pull them out and stick them on depending on what you're focusing on for that particular season. So I just wanted to share with you a couple of different ideas about how to use a bullet journal to really keep track of things. Let me show you what this looks like closed now. So you now have the tab out. So if you're sitting down, let's say you haven't played Stardew Valley in a while, you're like, oh, I can't even remember what season I was in or what I'm supposed to do. Oh, well, look at that. That appears to be things I need to do as soon as I get in the game. So this is especially useful if you're like me and get really forgetful and can't remember where you are in RPGs. This can definitely be adapted for other games. Pokemon, Animal Crossing New Leaf, anything where you are collecting a lot of stuff, you have a lot of quests. I can't tell you how many times I restarted Dragon Quest IX on the DS because I kept forgetting what I was doing. So here's a solution. Quick video for today. This is my 6th day of Vita, Video Everyday April. I've actually heard it called Veda recently as well, and I hope you've enjoyed watching. I'll see you in another video.